I think it's fair to say that the Carolina Panthers offense is a work in progress. We'll break down a 2017 Monday Night Football loss to New Orleans Saints right now on Locked On Panthers.
You are Locked On Panthers, your daily Carolina Panthers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
To another edition of the Locked On Panthers podcast, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, as always, Julian Council, talking Carolina Panthers with you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Your team every day. That's our motto here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Subscribe or follow the show for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And it's important that you do that because following every Carolina Panthers game, I am live like I am right now, breaking down the game. You can always check out the podcast later on, whether you watch it on YouTube or if you listen to it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, but always live following every Carolina Panthers game about an hour or so after the game right here on the Locked On Panthers YouTube channel. And of course, anytime there's any breaking news, also try to go live to react to what's happening. Make sure to follow me, Julian Council, on Twitter at Julian Council, because tomorrow on Wednesday, the weekly Wednesday mailbag will be back here on the show. And honestly, a perfect time coming off of a game to get your questions and then to react to whatever y'all have to say about the Carolina Panthers as they have now fallen to 0-2 to start off the season. This episode of Locked On Panthers is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. To make every moment more. Right now, new customers, that could be you, can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. The Carolina Panthers 17, the New Orleans Saints 20. The Carolina Panthers are now 0-2 to start off the 2023 NFL season. And I understand there is a lot of frustration after what we have seen from the Panthers offensively. And I agree with all that frustration, but I will tell you momentarily, not right now, because I'm going to allow you to be angry. I'm going to allow you to be upset, to be patient. I'll tell you that soon, but not right now. We're going to talk about the offensive struggles. Frank Reich, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, just got done listening to his press conference, and he says that he doesn't believe the offense and the team is that far away. He believes that they have the players and the coaches to do it, and he is confident that will happen. Defensively, I can agree that they're not that far away from winning football games. Offensively, it doesn't feel like they're particularly close. Now, there are a few moments in this game where the Carolina Panthers convert, then this could have been an outcome. And I understand what Frank Reich is trying to get across to that message, saying that they're not that far away. They have the coaches and the players to do it. Think back to the end of that first half when Von Bell got the interception, an awful throw by Derek Carr. What did the Carolina Panthers do with it? They're at the plus 37 in Saints territory, and the drive ends in a Bryce Young fumble. Now, Bryce Young didn't have anyone to throw the football to. He's rolling out to the side. It's either he's going to run the ball, he's going to throw it away, or he's going to try and make a play, something that you had seen the last couple of years if you watch him at Alabama. The difference is in the NFL, you have to be much more decisive in those situations. And Bryce, I'm not going to begrudge him for trying to make a play, but you got to get rid of the football in that situation. He doesn't do it. He fumbles. The Saints get the ball. Fortunately, the defense is able to stop him. But that's 3 points that was taken off the board because Bryce not getting rid of the football or really just, fumbling in that situation. But the Panthers offense had an opportunity to put points on the board, were unable to do it after a defensive turnover. Think back later on in the game, in the second half, in that third quarter, where the drive starts at the plus 41, right in Saints territory, after the Panthers forced New Orleans or deep in their territory to punt the football. What do the Panthers do? Well, they get a first down. Then on the next set of downs, second down drop by Jonathan Mingo. Bryce Young looks to get the first down. They call it back, say he's down. They bring in Andy Dalton. Looks like they're going to try and have Dalton as their short yardage goal line kind of guy to go in there and try to get a yard. And it was really less than a yard. Then what happens? Cade Mays, false start, 4th and 1. They have to end up backing up 5 yards. They kick a field goal. Eddie Pinheiro was awesome. 3 straight field goals he made today. He's made now 21, 22 straight field goals since missing last year in Atlanta and helping cost Carolina Panthers that game on the road. He was nails. The Panthers had an opportunity in plus territory, didn't do anything with it. You also think back to later on in the game when the Saints are up 13-6 and the Panthers have an opportunity to tie the game. They've gone from the 20 all the way down to the Saints 13. They have a 3rd and 3. Bryce again rolling out, has an opportunity, maybe just throw the football away and doesn't, get sacked, and ends up being 3rd and 8. Now, had it been, or 4th and 8 rather, had it been 4th and 3 at the Saints 13, knowing how the offense have struggled and the aggressiveness that we saw last week, albeit from 1 yard out, but in the first quarter, you would have thought that maybe they start to think about, okay, do we go for it in this situation instead of kicking the field goal had it been 4th and 3, but they didn't get that opportunity. So I see what Frank Reich is saying when he says they're not that far away because they had opportunities. The problem is the first one ends in no points. The second one ends in 3 points and the other one ends in 3 points. You can't keep kicking field goals when you get down into the red zone. You have to convert those into touchdowns. And the Carolina Panthers didn't do it until the very end of the game when the Saints decided that they didn't care anymore. This thing's in the bag. And it was the definition of a false hope touchdown as the Panthers scored, got the 2-point conversion, and then weren't able to get the onside kick because the rules now make it next to impossible to recover an onside kick in the NFL. So they had the opportunities, but they weren't able to capitalize because the offense just struggled throughout the game. Bryce, 23 of 33, 153 yards, touchdown, had a fumble. Early on, you could see, all right, let's get Adam Thielen involved in this game. They got him 5 targets early. He had 3 receptions for 23 yards on 3 targets on that opening drive. You go back to last week against the Falcons, 2 receptions on 2 targets for 12 yards. So on the first series of the game, he was able to eclipse what he did the week prior. The problem was through the first couple of series, he was the only one getting targets. DJ Chark, who we had talked about, all right, when Chark gets back, maybe this passing game looks different. The only time he was targeted and had a reception was in that first half where he was able to get a reception for 15 yards, make it a first down on that crossing route. Outside of that, didn't see him get targeted. Hayden Hurst, who was the best receiving option for the Panthers week 1 against the Falcons, did not see a target until the fourth quarter. This offense did not perform any better than they performed the week prior. And running the football, while they might have had 100 yards rushing 19 attempts for a long time in that game, they just weren't really trying. And Frank Reich said, okay, we got behind the sticks and all of that. And I understand in a way, but it's not like this is a game where you're down by multiple scores and you have to throw the football. When you're not doing well with the throwing the ball, why not try to keep it on the ground? I get it. Cade May struggled. He was replaced in the fourth quarter by Calvin Throckmorton, the former Saint who the Panthers picked off of waivers after roster cutdown day. I just expected more out of the run game than what we saw. So the Panthers had opportunities. I mean, they didn't. And look, in 4 of 14 on third down, not good enough. The first conversion they had came with 9:52 in the first quarter. The next conversion didn't happen until 11:26 left in the football game. You can't win that way. It's just not going to happen. So while they have the opportunities, they didn't capitalize. And we've talked for years here as we watch the Panthers just be awful. We've talked about complementary football, being able to do that. When the defense gets a turnover, puts you in plus yardage, you got to score. The Panthers didn't do that. When you have a short field and the defense has put you in great position again, you have to capitalize with a touchdown. Get 6, get 7, not 3, and the Panthers failed to do that. So I told y'all that I would tell you how Frank Reich kind of has a point that they're not that far away, but I'm going to tell you now that he might not be that right because let's be honest, and I told you all this, and I'll get to the patience part of it. Because actually, I didn't tell you this in the beginning, but I'm going to get to the patience part of this later on in the show because we're gonna be a little upset right now. We're going to look at how things are and how this state of affairs isn't really all that surprising. I told y'all back in March, man, and back in April, that this unit at wide receiver was going to leave a lot to be desired. When you lost DJ Moore, who was your best receiving option the last 4+ years, and the only guys returning at that point in time were Laviska Shenault, who was not allowed to go across the line of scrimmage last year because it was lava on the other side. When it was Terrace Marshall, who showed signs, but can't ever be counted on because he's never healthy in Shi Smith, you had a lot of work to do. Now, unfortunately for the Carolina Panthers, they had a lot of work to do in an awful wide receiver market. I get it. Okay, OBJ was there, more of a name than an actual player. He's injured, by the way. So we'll see how many games he even plays for the Ravens. There was also potentially you could go out there and get Nuke Hopkins, who so far has played well for the Titans, but it didn't sound like he was interested in playing for with the rookie quarterback. He said as much on a podcast. It didn't really seem like the Panthers were that interested. Now, Scott Brewer did tell us in on every deal, so maybe he was interested, but we didn't see it happen. But looking around, it wasn't like it was a great receiver market. Was Juju Smith-Schuster going to fix things? Now, he would be better than what they have, but was that going to elevate them to the point that they are on the same level as the Saints? Because the Saints have Chris Olave. They got this Shaheed guy I had never heard of who made a big play on Monday night. They have Michael Thomas. Bryce Young is throwing to Adam Thielen at 33, to DJ Chark on his third team, to a rookie Jonathan Mingo. The weapons aren't the same. So it's not that surprising that the receivers are struggling when the receiver talent isn't that good. The Panthers have put their rookie quarterback with some of the worst collection of pass catchers in the NFL. And now you're watching week 1 against the Falcons and week 2 against the Saints, what it looks like against a very good NFL defense. When your receivers can't get separation, your quarterback holds onto the football too long, tries to make things happen, and then takes untimely sacks or fumbles the football. That's a result of what the front office did in the offseason by putting this around Bryce Young. And it was so predictable. And that's why this is frustrating. Now, mind you, I do think it will get better. I do think it will get better. How much better? That is the question. Is it ever going to be great? Absolutely not. Can it be good? Probably not. Can it be passable? Like, that's all I'm asking for, is for the passing game to be passable. I don't think that's a pun, but if it is, no pun intended. I'm expecting it to just be a little bit better. But the early struggles, honestly, aren't that surprising considering the guys haven't been healthy, the talent or lack thereof at wide receiver. It's going to take some time, y'all. It is going to take some time. I'll get to the whole patience portion of this whole thing in a moment. But man, this offense is just, it ain't it. And we have watched some bad offenses the last couple of years, and it is certainly disheartening through 2 weeks to lose 2 games against divisional opponents and have the rest of the division sitting up at 2-0 and the Panthers looking up wondering, oh boy, how are we going to dig ourselves out of the hole when there's 3 of the next 4 on the road? So the whole patience part of this deal, I'll get to that here in just a moment on Locked On Panthers. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jace Medical offers the Jace case. This thing right here got in the mail today. The Jace case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you the peace of mind so that you are not just hoping that you have access to medication in an emergency. Jace Medical make sure you have the medication in hand. Jace is simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught unprepared. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jace Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using my code LOCKEDON at checkout on jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Now, the NFL season is finally here as well, and we are now officially done with week 2 and on to week 3. Snap into the action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. So if you bet on the Panthers and they lose, you still get $200, guys. And for Panther fans right now that are upset, if your team loses, you get $200. I think that's going to make you feel a little bit better. If you have been thinking about joining FanDuel, and of course, if you got to be in a state legally to do this, there's no better time than right now to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. I promised you that I would tell you to be patient about the Panthers offense. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And there's plenty of things I want to say here. We're going to get to the Shaq Thompson injury and all of that. And there's some other notes that I have, and I don't even know if I can get it in all on today's show. So that's why I need you all to go ahead and ask me some questions for the weekly Wednesday mailbag tomorrow here on the show. So either at me or DM me over on Twitter, get those questions in. I've already looked at my DMs, already got some of those questions, and I'm sure some of the other things that I want to say, I'll probably say to y'all on Wednesday on tomorrow's show. But go ahead and get those questions to me at Julian Council on Twitter. Patience. And this is something I've tried to preach heading into the season, while also knowing that there's just no way anyone's going to listen. There's no way. I know it's not true. There's no way. There are people who will listen, and there are people who are more patient than others. And it's hard to be patient. I understand, y'all. I get it. 18, 6-2. Everything looks great. You blow out a bad Bucs team. Talking about Cam, MVP, going back to the Super Bowl. Let's do this thing. It all falls apart, figuratively and literally, as far as Cam Newton's body that year. 2019, okay, Cam's going to come back. Got Gerald McCoy. This defense going to 3-4 makes way more sense. Cam gets hurt. You're 0-2. People are on saying season's over. Then Kyle Allen comes in. False hope, 4-2. Feeling good about yourself. And then you have that snowy day in Green Bay. And then things fall apart again in the second half of the season. Ron Rivera's fired. 2020, I don't think there's a lot of hope going into that season anyway. I hope most people were just happy to have football. 21, you get off to 3-0. And then you're 2-12 the rest of the way. And then last year, well, I don't think anyone had any hope because Matt Rhule is still the head coach. So I get it. You're sick of it. You're sick of watching bad offense. You're sick of bad quarterback play. You're tired of not being a factor. You're tired of not being in these kind of games and the nation watching. Like the Panthers were in prime time. Because again, I told y'all multiple times on the pod the last couple of days, Sunday and Monday, that's when it matters. But they really weren't even on Monday Night Football. They were just buried because it's week 2 and the ESPN wants to have that inventory because of their contract with the NFL. The actual Monday night game was on ABC in Pittsburgh. Like that's the real Monday Night Football game. So even when they're in prime time, they're not even the prime time game. And that's disappointing. You're tired of being in those games. You want Mike Tirico and you want the Collinsworth slide. That's what you want. You're sick of this, and I get it, and I'm sick of it too. I got to sit here and talk about it, man. You think I'm not sick and tired of this? You think I'm not sick and tired of all the negativity? And maybe I do it sometimes, but also I'm just being honest. Like that's what I do. I'm sure there's plenty of Panthers podcasts out there that will give you roses and sunshine. I don't know how they do it. God bless them. I don't know how they do it, but I'm here to just try and be reasonable. If you want to, I don't even know if it's even right to even say the voice of reason, because I don't know if I can call myself that, because I definitely get emotional at times, but I at least want to be honest with y'all and tell you what I really feel. And going to the season, I really felt like this wide receiver core would not be good. But I also felt like they would be able to make enough plays for the offense to not be that. What we saw tonight and what we saw on Sunday in Atlanta. I think it will get better. ESPN put out a really good stat in the first half of today's game saying the Carolina Panthers returned 39% of the yards from last year on offense. Last in the NFL. The biggest offensive turnaround as far as personnel goes and coaching in the NFL from 22 to 23. So with that comes a rookie quarterback in Bryce Young. And history tells you rookie quarterbacks don't play that well. It takes some time, and especially out the gate. Now, we have certainly been privileged the last time we had one, drafted number 1, Cameron Jarrell Newton went out there and threw for 4 Bills in back-to-back games. That's not what happened with Bryce. He also had Steve Smith Sr., who's going to have a bust in Canton. Adam Thielen's not going to have a bust in Canton. DJ Chark's not going to have a bust in Canton. I'm going to go out on a limb, even though it's only 2 games, and guess that Jonathan Mingo probably not going to have a bust in Canton. So it's very hard to do that, especially with the passing numbers nowadays. It's going to be very hard to differentiate yourself in this era of football. So I feel very confident that he's not throwing to a Hall of Fame receiver anywhere right now. So Cam had a better situation as far as who he's throwing the football to. Bryce doesn't have that, but it can get better with time. So you got a rookie quarterback. You got new receivers out of Thielen, DJ Chark, Jonathan Mingo coming in. Mingo, it's only his second game. You got to give the guy some time. Had a brutal drop, but he'll get better. DJ Chark hadn't been healthy, hadn't been out there in practice really. Only one target. Is that because of health? I don't know what it was. He needs to be more involved moving forward, and I think he will be. And when they tried to stretch the field and throw it down to him, what happened? A penalty. So good things can happen when you try to stretch the field, and DJ Chark had been a positive whenever they targeted him. So really only one official target, but two in the game. One, a 15-yard reception for his first down to start off the drive, and the second one was one that was a spot foul, DPI. That's good. Adam Thielen, I think he's fine. I think he can give you something. He's the de facto number one. So that's what he's working with. But also remember, like, guys, there were so many injuries. Austin Corbett's not out there at right guard. Cade Mays was there. They took him out, put in Calvin Throckmorton. Frank Reich claims that they were going to play Throckmorton anyways. I feel like it's probably Throckmorton's job. Mays had a chance to be the right guard at first, didn't get it, didn't get another opportunity. So it's not going to happen for him, it looks like. It's probably going to be Throckmorton. Makes way more sense considering he's a veteran and probably a better player than Cade Mays. You've also have Brady Christensen now out for the rest of the season. I think Zavala's probably held up pretty well. I had to look at the PFF numbers to make sure that the nerds think that's the case, but I think he's looked fine. So once once Austin Corbett comes back, maybe he gets a little bit better. But you have to understand, like, the offensive line injuries are already there. And yes, there's been mistakes for other players out there, of course. But Chark, coming off a hamstring. Maybe he's still hampered by that. Chenault was coming off a concussion protocol out for the preseason. He had Terrace Marshall of his own back injury, and I don't even know if he played tonight. Demir Bird was supposed to be a part of this offense in some way. He's not even here. So when you have the offensive injuries on the offensive line and the skill positions, you have a rookie quarterback, a new scheme, new coaching staff. This is what it looks like early on. I don't think it's going to look like this all year. It can't possibly look like this all year. It will get better. You have to be patient. And I ask people to be patient going into the season, knowing that it could probably look like this. And this was worse than I could have ever imagined. But it will get better. I do believe that. Do I think this is going to be a playoff team? I don't know about that. Now, I guess you look at some of the teams out there that are 0-2, like the Bengals. I don't know if they can do it back-to-back years. They did it last year, but they have Jamar Chase. They have T. Higgins, who the Panthers need to go get this offseason. They have Joe Burrow. Like, they'll be fine probably in the end. Now, it's a tough division. We'll see how it really works out. The Chargers. The Chargers just find a way to keep chargering. Maybe with Justin Herbert, they'll find a way to be in it. For the Panthers, it's going to be an uphill climb. But the offense will get better. And if the offense gets just to be passable with this defense, then they have a chance. They have a chance to win some games, to piece some things together. But right now, they're in a tough stretch. Because Sunday, I watched the game on Sunday against Seattle and Detroit. They look pretty good. Gino was out there doing his thing. That's never an easy place to go. So Sunday at 4 o'clock, that's going to be a tough game. Coming home against Minnesota, I know they're 0-2. I don't know who they have coming up on Sunday, but Kirk Cousins put up a lot of yards. That's going to be tough because that offense can put up some yardage and points. Now, the defense can hold them, I believe, but can it be enough for this offense to also be able to help out? And then going on the road against Miami, it's going to be really tough to keep up with them and for this defense to even stop them. And then, of course, at Detroit. So I had told y'all a couple days ago, like 2-4, if they can get to 2-4, especially now that they're 0-2, I feel good about that. When you get the bye, then you come back, it's home against Indy, it's home against Houston, and maybe you're 4-4, and then let's see what happens in the final 9 weeks of the season. But they have to be able to get better production and actually get some consistency and find an identity in this offense over the next 4 weeks, 3 of them on the road, if they're even going to be in a position coming off of that bye and heading into week 8 to try to turn things around and then head into the final 9 games of the season with the chance to maybe be in it. Right now, it does not look promising, but patience. It will get better. Bryce Young will only get better, and the guys around him will get better. The question is, how much better is it going to be, and will it be good enough for the Panthers in the long run here in 2023? We will see. Now, the Carolina Panthers had an awful injury last week, and it happened again tonight as Shaq Thompson went down with what appears to be a significant ankle injury. We'll get into the ramifications of that and also look back at some of the keys to victory and how that turned out for the Panthers on Monday night in their 20-17 loss against New Orleans Saints here in just a moment on Locked On Panthers. I have retired from my fantasy football league, but there are times where I decide, you know what, I actually want to play some fantasy, do some DFS, whether it's football or basketball or baseball or anything out there. Prize Picks that's where I go, and Prize Picks is the most fun that you will have, guaranteed winning up to 25 times your money this football season. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. Test your skills on Prize Picks this football season. It's the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Prize Picks is really simple to play. You can make your picks and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. It takes no time at all. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedonNFL and use code LOCKEDONNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/lockedonNFL and use code LOCKEDONNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. We're about 18 minutes away from midnight here on the East Coast. Shout out to the 75 of you that are live here with me on the Locked On Panthers YouTube channel, where again, after every Panthers game, about an hour afterwards, I am here live breaking it all down for you. So appreciate everyone who is here watching the show and everyone who checks out and supports the podcast, whether you watch it on YouTube or listen to it, or if you listen to your favorite podcast. Thank you so much for hanging in here with me as we suffer together. Now, unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers injuries, oh, man, I had said it last week. It's not the injury bug, man. It's like it's an injury pandemic. It just will not go away. It's affecting everyone on this roster. The Carolina Panthers suffered yet another devastating injury on Monday night as Shaq Thompson was carted off in the first quarter on the second Saints drive of the game with an ankle injury. It was friendly fire, and that's the worst thing. I talked about Jason Horn last year when he gets hit by Jeremy Chin, breaks his wrist. Like, what is he supposed to do? It's just bad luck. And this for Shaq Thompson is the epitome of bad luck football injuries that you can have. Where Deshaun Williams, the play is over. Shaq's in there on the stop. He's getting up. Deshaun Williams, him and Trevor Penning. And Trevor Penning is one of those dudes who's overly physical, like got thrown out of the Senior Bowl because of that nonsense. He and Deshaun Williams are still kind of wrestling, and Deshaun Williams flips Trevor Penning on to Shaq Thompson's ankle as Shaq is starting to get up. And I'm sure you all saw it. It looked awful. And immediately Shaq grabs his leg. The Panthers team's around him on a knee. The bench clears. Prayers out for Shaq. The cart comes out. And, right there, it's like, damn, that might have been the last time we see Shaq Thompson this season. And Frank Reich said after the game that, yeah, it's significant. This is from Ian Rapoport. Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson suffered an injury to his ankle that is likely to keep him out the rest of the season. Sources say we'll have tests tomorrow to get more information. Coach Frank Reich called it significant, a brutal injury to one of Carolina's leaders. And he is also the play caller defensively. I don't know who ended up calling the plays afterwards. Probably Frankie Louvu. I don't know. That's something that I would like to figure out here moving forward who that's going to be. But Frankie Louvu went out there, had a great game. And even before Shaq went down, he was playing with his hair on fire because that's what he does. 9 tackles, 4 of them solo, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Love Frankie Louvu. He's going to have like an all-time season as far as a Panthers backer goes. They've had some all-time seasons. And one of those dudes is right up there in a boot. Well, 2 of them, really, because you got Luke on a radio call, and then you got Dan Morgan in the front office. But he's going to have one of those kind of seasons for the Panthers moving forward, especially if they're going to continue to be as good as they've been so far defensively. I thought Camus Grier-Hill, who had a great camp and was someone that Shaq Thompson said, we got to find a way to get this guy on the field. And damn, Shaq, that's not what we meant. Oh, and it's just bad. It's just bad luck. But he came out, 6 tackles, 5 of them solo, 1 sack, 1 TFL. He had 6 starts last year at Houston. Deion Jones, who was cut on roster cut down day because your 4th linebacker can't be a dude who doesn't play special teams. I imagine that he'll now get signed to the active roster and be a backup for the Panthers. He started 5 games in Cleveland, played in 11 a year ago. Every year he's been healthy and been a starter in the NFL. He's had over 100 tackles. I don't know if that's going to happen this year, but I do think he'll now have to get in on the action, at least be a depth piece for the Carolina Panthers. And that was the spot that we talked about with Deion Jones when he was on a roster back in training camp, that was a strength for the Carolina Panthers. But you didn't want to see Thompson or Louvu go down, but you felt like if they did, you had 2 proven guys who have started games in the NFL on even winning teams who could come in and help you. And that's what they have in Kamu Grier-Hill, who looks like to be the starter moving forward there at Thompson's spot. And then Deion Jones, I'd expect him to be signed to the active roster here sometime this week, as Shaq Thompson appears to be out for the rest of the season. But yeah, huge loss, as he's the Panthers defensive play caller. Thompson's had 100 plus tackles each of the last 4 years. He's, I don't know, for whatever reason, Panther fans had criticized Shaq in the past. Like, he's a damn good player. He's a guy who took less money to come back here to be with his brothers because he wants to win a Super Bowl here, and hopefully that will happen for him one day. But just hate to see that for Shaq. And defensively, they've been great. And I know Brian Burns had something, so we'll see if that pops up in the injury report. Just give the man his money, y'all, before something actually happens to this dude. But to now lose Shaq at a position where you can withstand it. You don't like it, but you can withstand it. But he's good against the run. The Panthers, back-to-back weeks now, they've given up 130-plus yards rushing. That, and the Saints tried all night to do it. And I don't know how the Taysom Hill bull junk, been listening to way much Deion Sanders lately. I don't know how that stuff even works. It's so obvious, but yet it kept working. It defies logic. So the Saints tried all night, Pete Carmichael or OC, to run the football, and they got it done. They didn't even feel it was that effective, but they got it done. The Panthers got to figure out how that's going to work out moving forward, because that's what Shaq Thompson is able to do. Can Grier-Hill do that for them? Could Deion Jones do that for them? We'll see. And of course, Frankie, keep doing you. I got no notes. Just keep doing what you do, Frankie Louvu. JC Horn's out, and you saw CJ Henderson. He gave up a big passing. Had DPI early in the game. They kept targeting him. They were like, yeah, this guy, scrub. We're going to keep going at him. I thought he actually held up fairly well. The Olave one, and it was 42 yards. It led to a touchdown. And that's the thing. And we're going to get this in a second. But like that one, that's just a great catch by Olave. He's in position. He's holding his hand. Guys get away with that every week. He's in position. That's just a great catch. Good throw. I can't even really say all that much about CJ Henderson. It's different than like what happened with Dante later in the game, where he just gets beat on a double move. And just kind of let's go ahead and do this. Like, recapping some of the keys to victory. Like, number one is protect Bryce Young. They gave up 4 sacks. Some of those are coverage sacks. Others are just, you got to be better O-line. So I think that's now 6 sacks so far that they've allowed. Number 2 is avoid giving up chunk plays. The 42-yard one to Olave and the 45-yard one to Shaheed. Both of those resulted into touchdowns. And that is the difference. And the Panthers were good. They weren't allowing stuff over the top until they did, and kind of really the dam just broke there late. And they did as best as they could, man. The defense came out. I think it was like the first 3, because they were 3 for 3 last week. The Falcons were in the red zone. The Saints were 0 for 2 to start off the game. And let's see if I have my ESPN team stats up here right now. Because the Panthers defense in the red zone was better today, especially starting off the game. We've seen this in the past where they're out there all day. They get tired. Red zone D, they ended up being the Saints were 2 for 4. So, I'll take that over 3 for 3, of course. And the Saints ended up being out there 32-49, Panthers 27-11. So not egregious, but it was at a point in time in that game. So I thought Henderson was fine. Dante played a good game until they just gave up 2 big pass plays. I think Dante's is more egregious than like Henderson's, because he just got blown by. It happens, but just the worst time for that to happen. Defensively, though, they're going to be good. I still think so. I just wonder how if they're going to be able to withstand all these injuries that they keep happening, especially the key players. So we'll see how that works out moving forward. And then I just kind of wrap things up. Like, they're 0-2. And it's not just like they're 0-2. They're 0-2 in a division. And you played home against New Orleans. You played at Atlanta, who's somehow 2-0. They beat the Packers. Like, what the hell? And then the Saints are now, of course, 2-0. And then the Bucs. Oh, my God. The Bucs are 2-0. So it's not just that you're 0-2 overall. You're 0-2 in the division. You have 2 divisional losses. And now you're sitting there looking up, trying to figure out how you're going to be able to claw out of this hole when you have to go to Seattle on Sunday, a game they can win if the offense shows up. And you get Minnesota at home, a game they can win. Again, the offense shows up. And then at Detroit, Miami, I don't think those are 2 games that the Panthers really can win. I don't know. I don't think, definitely Miami. I don't see it. I don't see it with Miami. It's any given Sunday, week to week league. Hard to see that happening. Detroit, I think it'll be difficult. Even though they just lost their home opener, I still think it'd be difficult. Like, the 2 games, I feel like they got to win, or like the next 2 coming up here, man, especially Minnesota at home. to try and right the ship, because right now things get sideways, but they can get 2-4, go in the bye week, gain some momentum, get those other two rookies and Anthony Richardson, who keeps having injuries, and against CJ Stroud, who also is already banged up. If they can get those two teams, potentially get the 4-4, hold serve at home, then things can get better in the second half of the season. But right now, it's just the defense has got to keep playing the way they're playing, but they got to get some help on offense. And I just feel like with more time in the scheme, guys staying healthy on the outside, getting more reps at Bryce, it will look better. And there's talks about Frank Reich giving up play calling, at least Panthers fans calling for it. I mean, that's one of those like week 2 overreactions like that. That's just, come on, that's ridiculous. And Frank Reich said he's going to do what's best for the team. And eventually he will give up play calling. He has said from the beginning, I want to give it up, but right now I'm going to call plays while we get established. And once they're established and he feels good about this thing, because it's not like I'm only here 1 year with Bryce. This is like a 3-year thing at least, until we know whether he's the right guy or not. Like, they have 3 years to figure it out. And Dan Orlovsky said it. You got a 36-month timetable for this thing, Panther fans. That's what he was saying. And that's the whole patience part of this. So he's going to give it up, but he wants to get it established. He needs to get it off the ground. Right now, it's not off the ground. And it's a collaborative effort. He's been saying that from the beginning. And it's just not him. He's talking to everybody. And Frank Reich's offense is Thomas Brown's offense. And Thomas Brown's offense is Frank Reich's offense. And Parks Frazier's offense is Frank Reich's offense. Frank's you understand what I'm saying? It's everyone's offense. So Frank Reich right now does not believe he needs to give a play calling. I would just encourage people to stop with that. I saw multiple people be like, "Oh, Ejiro Evero, who's doing a great job, and damn, it looks like we're going to lose that guy after a year." People are saying he should be the head coach. Okay, if he's the head coach, how does that fix the offense? That's just a question I have for those folks out there. So it's going to take some time. Be patient. I know there could be people who say, what about the defense? Well, the defense, I mean, they really only added Von Bell as like a significant player on the defense. He had a great pick today, but like they're still bringing back, they brought back JC and Dante. Of course, JC's out right now. They had brought back Shaq, of course, and Frankie. And you look at Chin, Brian Burns, Derek Brown, like the stars of the defense were returning. They were just adding, like, filling some holes. While offensively, like, they're rebuilding everything. That's the difference when you look at the patience portion of things. And like, you could say, oh, what about the defense? Well, the defense, you have the proven veterans, the guys who have been here that are like still playing with each other. With the offense, everything is new. So that's the difference. So I don't know. We'll see. Panthers are 0-2. Hopefully, you can get the 1-2 on Sunday against the Seahawks. Hang in there, y'all. Just be patient. 15 more games to go. It is a long season, but I do understand that they have left a lot to be desired through 2 weeks of the season. But that's going to wrap up this edition of the Locked On Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network with your host, Julian Council. Again, y'all subscribe or follow the show for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Thanks to, I think we had like 93 concurrent listener or viewers at one point up here. So appreciate all y'all staying up late on the Monday night here on the East Coast or wherever you are across the world and checking me out. Make sure to do that again on Sunday following the Seahawks game, but also follow me on Twitter at Julian Council and at me or DM me, really probably just DM me to get questions in for tomorrow's show. It's going to be the weekly Wednesday mailbag here on Locked On Panthers. I already got some questions in, so go ahead and give me the questions. Probably have a few more things I wanted to say that I did not say that will probably be answers to your questions or at least thoughts to your questions. So get those into me right now. But in the meantime, be safe, be happy, be whole. And this is important. As always, guys, keep pounding, and I will talk to you on Wednesday.